Hi there. From this lecture onwards, we would be trying more on hands-on instead of talking, and you would be learning a lot of practically how to implement this entire course in your workspace. So I need to ask you at least three things which you need to commit. The first one would be you need to practice this entire course at your workspace. That's the first one. Once we have met the first requirement, that's the first requirement. So I'm gonna move to the next requirement, which is you must have to commit, must have to give the budget in terms of budgeting your time to complete this upcoming chapters, because these are very critical, more on hands-on, might take some time for you, not just play over the video, but practically if you try to do this it might take some time, but as you go on through it, it becomes as a habit for you and it cultivates that habit for you, for a good reason to manage your time management. That's a second requirement. Third one would be the make sure you have all the items which are coming in the upcoming slides. So in this case, these are the which I'm going to cover in a minute. All these are the required list which must be there with you. But I'm going to talk on that. Before I jump into these resource list, I wanted to talk on these three things with a high level or with the bullet points. First, watch this entire chapters in your workspace by watching and practicing. And workspace, I mean the place where you most often handle things like email, your paperwork, or maybe scheduling meetings. Such things is your workspace in my views. And most of the people have some sort of home office or a home base when it comes to doing their work, and that's what I mean actually. So you can work from either a mobile office, that's fine. Just you have to have some kind of briefcase, or maybe a bag, and any work related resources on your hand while you go through the next chapters. That's the key thing that you need to have. So the first requirement is very clear. You have to be implementing working at the workspace. When I say workspace, it could be your mobile office or your home office or your actual office where you do some kind of activities like email, paperwork, or scheduling, so that you can get maximum benefit out of this training if you complete it in your workspace. And the second one is, which is very important in terms of budgeting your time, since the next chapters are so hands-on, they take a few hours to complete, depending on all your level of chaos, confusion, or maybe your to-do list. Okay, and to get the best results, again, please check your calendar and your day and make sure you have enough uninterrupted time to complete these chapters in one sitting. If not, you may have to schedule some time with your with some kind of mechanism for reminder to complete them later part, because this has a lot of information that must have to go in one shot. And now I'm going to talk about the third one, which is I'm talking about the list of things, which are these are the things like I'm going to talk about large file inboxes. So these are the things which we already talked in the previous lectures. So where we talked about the larger file boxes and labeling purpose, electronic labeler, and DVD, and these are your data gathering points, and which we are gonna work with these things in as part of your job profile. So somebody might not be interested or might not be dealing anything to do with the DVD or CD storage wallet, then they can simply skip that. But what additional things you might need it, maybe a pencil kit, or maybe a sketching, or maybe a special paper for your work. Such things you might have to include in your resource checklist. So once you have all these resource list, then you should be good to continue with the next lecture. So I'm just gonna explain here what are the things. When I say large file box, it should be looks like this, so which can fit your big data gathering points. So big items also it should be able to fit. It might also, some of them are smaller things, but you should be able to have at least 8 of your big boxes. That's what I can see practically, but it all depends. So it's not necessary you to have exactly 8. Somebody may need to have only 1, but it doesn't matter that how large your work environment. Based on that, you need to buy and acquire these kind of things, but in general 8 would do the work for you. And other one would be the electronic labeler, which is, if you want to eliminate these one, you can eliminate. Electronic labeler will be used to stick some kind of um, name or some kind of labeling, because this is how, for example, LM160 is coming out of this printer, which is a labeler printer, electronic one. So you just have to type here, and that would print on a small sticky, and that can be sticked on anywhere. Or if you have some other mechanism like writing on a paper and sticking it, you're welcome to do that. So, and there is no definitive making or definitive electronic item to be buy or made. It can be anything, just we need to have that thing to be labelized properly, your either files or maybe your stacky trays or maybe folders, such things, because that is very important for us. And also, if you have something to do with your DVDs or CVDs, it's better to have some kind of DVD holder. And hanging file folders, which is again important, because you can put your legal files or maybe your files inside these hanging file folders. And manila folders, which should have maybe here there's some alphabets or not mentioned, but it's good that if you want to mention, you can mention by writing, or one have already alphabets, you can buy that one. So minimum 2 at least recommended, but it again depends, as I said, based on your workload and other things. And also stacking trays, I give it here as a 6, but it all depends on your workload, as I said earlier. So these are the things which you need to have. Once you have all these things, you're good to go for the continuing with the next lecture. Also consider your calendar. If you're still using with the normal calendar, with the paper-based calendar, you can go with the electronic calendar, which I've already shown you once, or with the Google Calendar, the feature set. So just have consider that also. So it's very important to have the best easy accessibility of the technology, so that you can make your work faster than previous. I hope this is useful, and catch you in the next lectures, which are very critical and important for you and more hands-on.